Paranormal Punches is part of the Podbelly Network. Go to podbelly.com for more great podcasts.
Hey, y'all. This is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends. Welcome to Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
I'm Dave.
All right. Yeah, recording from the new house. Mm-hmm. So still trying to get the groove here in the new space. Mm-hmm. Dave couldn't make it over to the new space, so he's all the way at his house on Skype.
In Hollowworth, giving us Skyping.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I mean the Hollowworth.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Doing great.
Awesome. Very talkative.
Yeah. One word.
I know. Like for podcasters, you guys really.
Yeah, it's a stretch.
Now, Nash, you have a little event coming up.
Yeah.
Where you're going to lift some weights and see if you can set a record in Pennsylvania for your age group.
Yes. So I was taking a look at the record holders. So if anybody doesn't know, there's a powerlifting event coming up. And so I was taking a look at...
Everybody listening did not know.
Nobody knew.
Yeah.
So there's... I was looking at my weight versus age group, and it looks like there are no state record holders. Well, the twist in this is that yesterday I was like, I'm doing great. I'm feeling really good. This is going to be a great day. I went and jumped on the scale just to make sure that I was in the same weight category, and I guess I had lost about 10, 12 pounds. So now... I'm in a category where there are records and record holders, so I need to. So I told Stephanie, I said, honey, we're going to eat. This is going to be a week of eating, and I'm thinking that maybe a day or two before, maybe the day before weigh-in, I'm just going to drink a bunch of like Imodium AD or something like that and get all good and stopped up. So I have enough weight inside my body, and then I go directly to weigh-in.
That sounds like a terrible plan.
I know, but I got to make that up for weight. I'm too late for once in my life. What happens if you're
in the middle of a squat and that Imodium AD lets loose?
Well, that'll be the next day. The weigh-ins are the day before.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can take the Imodium AD, eat a bunch, go weigh in, and just hope that I can get to that upper weight. This is the first time in my life I've been too light. I've never been too light for anything. Oh, my gosh.
Just swallow like 10 pounds of ball bearings.
Yeah, thanks. There's a great idea.
Yeah, that'll stop you up.
Yeah, so it's like...
Among other things.
Yeah, so we got a bunch of potatoes and we got a bunch of like heavy carb stuff that I'm just going to chow at, this week. For the next week, see what happens.
Okay.
All right, well, I wish you luck.
But either way, I should do pretty good. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try, if at all possible, to come over so I can clap and cheer and be there for you, brother.
Yeah, that'd be great because I think that we're bringing in like 5 to 8 people that are all going to compete.
Very cool.
I looked at the list, and it's like we know there's only like 30, 40 people competing. Both men and women, and we have like a quarter of them coming. So
cool.
By proxy, we should win.
Well, all right. Yes, this is the Paranormal Puncher Show.
Yes, right.
We talk about weird and spooky things. And on this episode, we're going to talk about Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yep.
It should be fun.
A spooky good time.
Yeah. For sure. We're going to kick things off with listener feedback brought to you by El Yucateco Hot Sauce. Dave, I hear you just ordered an entire case of Caribbean.
I did. It should be arriving tomorrow, and I'm very much looking forward to it because I finished my last bottle, and I've been jonesing without it.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, that was an excellent flavor. We have a prize pack for our 100th episode that will include some El Yucateco hot sauce. Keep in mind, everybody, El Yucateco is the king of flavor. They have 5 habanero-based sauces, red, green, Caribbean, black label reserve, Nash, which is your favorite. And, of course, the triple extra hot. And a jalapeno hot sauce and a chipotle hot sauce, too.
It's really, really good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
They're all really good.
They're just fantastic stuff. I put it on everything. I was putting it on chicken salad sandwich the other day, and then I was like, you know what? Let me see if this tastes like on just a piece of cheese. And I was like, let me see if it tastes like on a piece of broccoli. It's good on everything.
I could see you going around the house and pouring it on everything.
On everything. It's on everything, and then eating it. It was wonderful.
How's it taste on the cat?
Well, I don't know about that.
Boy.
That's a good idea. Maybe I'll put it on some cat food and see what he likes.
Okay.
Maybe I won't. No, I like our cat.
I honestly wasn't thinking that's where you were going with that statement.
Go to shopelucateco.com where you can find your favorite flavor by just buying the variety pack and trying them all. All right. Let's jump into here. Into there. Let's go. Quick shout out to our new Patreon, Joshua Crow. Thanks for joining the club. I hope you're enjoying all the fun stuff we make over there. We heard from Liz D on Podbean. She left a comment, love this podcast. It's a 5-star plus.
Ooh.
Nice.
We heard from Pixel Taco on Apple Podcast. He called us Paranormal Belchers.
I don't know why.
Great show. Although I couldn't make it through Shag Harbor. I tried. I really did. I cannot give you a 5-star rating due to that episode. So instead, I'm giving you 5 1-star ratings. The burping does not bother me. But I do cringe when I hear the pronunciations of woof instead of wolf.
What is that?
Woof, woof instead of wolf.
Instead of wolf?
And for sure. But that is a personal issue that I'm working on. Keep up the good work. Yeah, how do you say wolf?
I say wolf.
Wolf?
Wolf.
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 With an L.
Woof.
And is it like a Northeast or a Pennsylvania thing for the for sure?
Yeah, for sure. It is.
For sure it is.
For sure.
Well, thanks, Pixel Taco.
Which is a great name.
We heard from Corey. He says, Frank, F-R-A-N-K, furry, radioactive, animalistic, natural killer.
Ooh.
Based on listener feedback from last week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Last time. And he says, come on, guys, you know that's awesome. And Mark wins the Sasquatch call all day. Oh, and what happened to the D&D game? I was so invested in the D&D game you guys were playing. You know, the Men in Black feeling one. Well, it'll soon show up in your Patreon, episode 3.
Yeah.
I just finished editing that one and working on the 4th one. And then, guys, we have to record more.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's called Terror at Huska Castle. It's exclusively over on our Patreon. All right. We heard from Birdie Cuda. Hey, P-Punchers. Just listened to the latest episode, and I think I have an acronym for Frank. Forest, Reconnaissance, and Nocturnal Commando. Commando with a K. A.K.A. Project Frank. Love the podcast.
Nice.
Hashtag putting skin for the win.
For the win.
We heard from Floyd. I have been binge listening to you guys at home, at work, and in my car. I love your show. Thank you for the entertainment. Big shout out on discussing all these different things, and some I've never heard of, but awesome learning new things. Huge fan of all the paranormal and weird things. If it's not weird, it's not worth checking out. You guys stay weird and keep it going. Oh, thanks, Floyd, and don't worry, we're always weird.
Yes, thank you.
We heard from the official shark scientist of Paranormal Punchers. That would be Matthew Hedges. He said, I don't know how factual this is, but it seems like something interesting to look into. It's called a squonk. S-Q-U-O-N-K. Squonk.
Squonk.
He had a little post here. Apparently, Pennsylvania has a cryptid that is so ugly that he just cries about it all the time. And the way that you find him is to follow his path of tears.
Aww.
A squonk.
And it's a squonk.
Sad.
Well, in the images, it's...
Oh, it does look sad.
Pretty
Yeah.
ugly.
Yeah. I have not looked it up, but I'm going to look it up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like the sound you would make that in the old Batman 66 when someone hit somebody on the head with something like squonk. Like hit him with, I don't know, hit him with a car or something.
See, now you're making fun of his name. That's going to make him cry too.
That's all right. That's how we find him.
You hear him sobbing in the woods. Hey, if you were in the middle of the woods and you heard sobbing, I think you should turn around and get out.
Exactly.
Could be like some crazy spirit or whatever. Who knows what it is?
Yeah.
All right, we heard from Longhorn Studios. I figured you guys might like this. But he sent us a workout plan. I've made a workout plan catering to everyone's Viking side. If you guys try it, let me know. It's a brutal workout. Also, since we're all sort of kind of alcoholics, I make mead. If you send me the new address, I'd be happy to send you a bottle.
Oh.
And send me the address. So
nice.
When it shows up, we'll try some. For sure.
That's great.
I love mead, so yeah.
I've never made mead, so I've always kind of known it's there and never made one, but I'm interested to try it. I've barely even tried any, so that's exciting.
Yeah, and I sent you the workout. Did you take a peek at it?
I did. I took a look at it, and I'm not going to jump into it right yet because I'm trying to be really specific for another week, but as soon as that's done, I will.
Okay.
I was going to say, yeah, when it's done, I'll come back down and we'll try it out.
Let's do it.
Sweet. All right, we're going to finish up here with Ben. Ben's the one who had all those ideas for the comic book last week, if you remember. Last episode, not last week. This time he said, Punchers, sorry to write in so frequently, but listening to your show is inspiring a serious creative spark in my brain. Ooh. Which is awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ideas exploded out of my head again today for the comic book series. I thought these might be good for a subset of comics that focus on your team. For Dave, we see the scene open to the Punchers introducing themselves for another episode and joking about Dave being gone to the Hollow Earth to work on the servers again. Ending the sentence with an ellipses. The next frame, we are presented with an exterior shot of the Hollow Earth. And across 3 comic frames, we zoom closer and closer and are presented with the Hollow Earth. Maybe there is a massive city in the Hollow Earth. Or maybe it's more primal and free. Then, from there, we are shown Dave and what he is really been up to when he is fixing the servers. Maybe he is working with a contingent of resistance fighters against the reptilian overlords. Or he and a small group of random people are dropping off a cage at the gate to return a dogman or some other cryptid.
I like that.
Yeah.
For another issue, we see Mark and Frank having some adventures without the rest of the Punchers. It's totally how I see it.
Alone time with Frank.
Nash's comic shows him interacting with the pudding skin
Yeah.
with a spoon. I'm kidding. Shows you interacting with the pudding skin, whether he's closing portals around the globe to prevent crossovers or diving through the pudding skin to investigate the other side.
Ooh.
Lish has always eluded me as to what paranormal events pique her interest. Maybe she's involved with aliens and UFOs in some way.
Sure.
Looks like you got the shortest comic series.
maybe you're the boss wrangling us in. You're like Charlie from Charlie's Angels.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to know why Dave is in the Hollow Earth leading freedom fighters and then
Yeah, and I'm going through portals, getting orders from Lish, and then where's Mark? Well, he's off in the woods with Frank again.
No.
I don't know what they do in the woods, but I know they spend a lot of time together out there.
We see Mark and Frank having some adventures without the rest of you guys.
Yeah.
I see it more like a Han Solo Chewbacca situation.
Oh, go! I see it like setting up camp and fishing.
That would still be fun.
Quality time.
Yeah. Ben finishes up his message to us with, I also had some thoughts on a book idea that I might dabble in. I'm currently sans computer, so I won't be writing any stories anytime soon. But when I get the chance, I could write up an intro chapter and send it your way to get your thoughts. I was thinking of incorporating the team into the book, either directly or indirectly. Obviously, if you're against it or already doing something of the same, then I will drop it all together. Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah, please. That sounds awesome.
You can definitely write us into your book. Anyways, I hope you like the idea and keep up the amazing work. If it's not weird, it's not worth checking out. Ben.
Cool.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah.
That's all exciting.
I'm glad that we are sparking creativity. We're all creative and passionate about things, and that's just amazing that we, with the idiotic things that come out of our mouth sometimes, inspired you to write. So that's killer.
I kind of like the idea because you're the one always, Lish, always getting us back on the rails, keeping all of us cats herded together.
She's like
What
cute.
was-
What's James Bond? What's the leader? Q.
Oh.
M.
Is it M?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was going to say, what's that one comic book character?
That also means we're looking at ourselves as we're like James Bond kind of people, but whatever.
What's that one comic book? The girl that
You're drawing
in
circles.
DC.
Okay.
I think it's DC, and she.
Keep going.
Okay, well, she like.
Swimming? What? I don't know.
Never mind.
What's her powers? No, we're not going to let
no.
this go. The audience is riveted.
Now we're invested in what you're going for here.
I'm gonna stop waving my hands because you guys think I'm actually.
Trying to describe something with your hands.
I'm just talking with my hands.
Oh.
No, I feel like she has a computer and she's able to like look at what's going on.
That's from
Oracle.
Batman. Oracle.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, you're Oracle.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, see? There you go. That's exactly it. Herding cats.
I couldn't think of her name.
It's okay.
It's okay. You got us there. We got you there. You are the Oracle. That's just it.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, well, there you go, Ben. We just came up with her side story.
That's right.
She sits behind a computer.
Yeah.
Plays Minesweeper until she sees us screw something up.
All right. If you want to send us some feedback, hit us up, paranormalpunchers.com. You'll find all the ways to contact us. So
Do it.
do it. All right. Oh, and we got a little story from Will for the second half. He went to the Sorrel Weed House.
Ooh.
Sorrel Weed House, Sorrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. But with no further ado, I'm going to turn the reins to the show over to Alicia to get us onto the paranormal.
Okay. Waverly Hills Sanatorium, located at 4400 Paralee Drive, Louisville, Kentucky. It is considered to be one of the most haunted places in this country. During the 1800s and early 1900s, America was ravaged by a deadly disease known by many as the White Death, which we know, tuberculosis, TB. In 1900, Louisville, Kentucky had the highest TB death rate in America. Waverly Hills was opened as a TB hospital on July 26th, 1910. It was intended to hold 40 to 50 people. Obviously, it became overcrowded. Donations of money and land were given, and a new structure opened in 1926, which would be able to hold 400 plus patients. Of course, this new structure became oversaturated with patients as well.
As it happens.
Right, because it was pretty bad.
Because TB was everywhere.
Yes. It was considered the most advanced TB sanatorium in the country, but even then, most of the patients succumbed to the disease. Sadly, the main use for the hospital was to isolate those who had come down with the disease and to keep them away from those who had not. It's been estimated that approximately 6,000 people died there, but I've also seen people saying it could be as high as 64,000, just depending on records and things like that.
Yeah, when they have that much death, how often
Right.
are you actually recording?
Dating all the way back to the original hospital, 1911. So let me give you some of the treatments just so you can understand, like,
These are awesome.
some of
This is like, what?
the crazy treatments that they had going on. A lot of these people passed away, and this is what they had to deal with. So patients' lungs were exposed to ultraviolet light to try and stop the spread of the bacteria. This was done in sunrooms using artificial light in place of sunlight, or on the roof or open porches. Since fresh air was thought to be a possible cure, patients were often placed in front of huge windows or on the open porches, no matter what the season was. There's a lot of old photos showing patients lounging in chairs, taking in the fresh air with snow all over them.
Covered in snow,
Yes.
right.
Jeez.
Yeah. Balloons. Here's another one.
Ugh.
Balloons would be surgically implanted in the lungs and then filled with air to expand them.
Great idea.
Yeah. Needless to say, this often had disastrous results.
Jeez.
And then there was another one. There was an operation where muscles and ribs were removed from a patient's chest to allow the lungs to expand further and let in more oxygen. Obviously, a lot of those did not work. Now,
imagine that. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
No.
Having your ribs and your muscles around your lungs, which is like the major muscle group in your chest, just taken away. Oh my gosh.
yeah, so there they had, everybody calls it the body chute, but it was kind of like this tunnel that was underneath the building, and they would take all the dead through that tunnel and then take it out to the railroad tracks and everything at the bottom of the hill. This way nobody could really see how many people were dying, because a lot of people were dying. And they didn't want to lower morale for all the people that were still alive. Now, by the late 1930s, TB had begun to decline around the world. And by 1943, there were new medications that pretty much got rid of TB. So in 1961, Waverly Hills was closed down, but was reopened a year later as Woodhaven Geriatric. Let me start over that.
You got this.
Yeah, Woodhaven Geriatrics Sanitarium. Specifically, it was a home for seniors with dementia and those who could no longer walk. Some of the things that they did with this was electroshock therapy, because they considered it to be highly effective.
To get those legs moving again, I guess, you know, just juice them.
They used it for all sorts of ailments. Now, budget cuts in the 1960s and 70s led to very horrible conditions there, patient mistreatment. And in 1982, the state closed the facility for good. For probably a very, it was a good thing. The buildings and the land were auctioned off and changed hands many times over the course of the next 2 decades. There were plans for a prison, but after the neighbors protested, it was scrapped. Then in March 1996, Robert Alberhaski, he bought it and made plans to construct the world's tallest statue of Jesus on the site, along with an arts and worship center.
Oh, sure.
The statue, which was going to be very similar to the one in Rio, it was going to come in at the cost of $4 million. And it would have been 150 feet tall and 150 feet wide, situated on the roof of the sanatorium. Obviously, they
I don't know
did.
if that structure would be able to
Yeah.
hold.
I know.
I don't think that's even possible.
Obviously, donations fell well short of the expectations, and it was canceled in 97. So now, in 2001,
So he just built a foot tall version of it.
maybe, I don't know.
The little replicas they get in the gift shop. Yeah, he just put those all over the place.
And I only brought that up because I just thought it was kind of interesting. He was going to erect this huge statue on top of the building. Anyway, in 2001, Waverly Hills was sold to Charlie and Tina Mattingly, and they're the ones that own it now. By the time that they bought it, it had basically been destroyed by time, the elements, homeless people coming in, and vandals looking for a thrill. So what we have now is they went in and they didn't renovate it at all, really,
Right.
but they got it to a point where you can at least walk around. And then they have tours and stuff like that, which we'll get into. But do you guys want to hear some of the hauntings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had a quick question before we
Go,
get into
go,
that.
go.
So in your notes, it said it was 1910 when it was open, and it closed
Yeah.
in the 30s, right?
It closed
In like the late 1930s.
1961.
When they stopped taking the TB, when TB started to die down.
That died down in the 1930s, and by 1943, they had a medication, really.
Okay, so in about 25 years, somewhere between 6,000 and 64,000 people died.
Pretty wide.
I was just, when you were talking, I was just doing the math. I was like, 10 years. Well, that's only 3,600 people. Mm-hmm. So 20 years, that's 7,000 people. Mm-hmm. So 7,000 plus another, I was like, so that's like an maybe 9,000 people in 25 years. So I was thinking, well, that's only 9,000 people. That's 64,000, possibly 64,000 people come out of there in that 25-year time die. Mm-hmm. That means that, can you imagine what that would be like working there? Because you're trying to keep it all hidden away, but 64,000 people in 25 years is oh my gosh, six times, 7 times that. So you must have had 7 to 10 people dying every day. You must have had a dozen people dying every day, and staff devoted to, oh, what are you doing? Well, I got to go to lunch, but I got to take this body down the chute and get it out.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so much.
Watching you do math.
It's pretty scary, right?
Right.
Yeah. Just rattled off from the, yeah. I'm just thinking like, wow, the numbers are staggering. 64,000. That's amazing.
So I do want to call out, I don't think 25 years is the right number here. The new building opened in 1926 and closed in 61. So it's...
well, I was kind of marking when TB kind of died down and the medication showed up.
Okay.
That's kind of what that's why I was saying about 25 years-ish.
Okay, got it. Sorry.
It's okay.
No, man, someone has to fact check Nash.
I know, right?
Anyway, so some of the hauntings that go on here. And I do need to say that this is not like comprehensive. I was able to get a few things here and there. So if there's some stuff that I
have a couple too.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Whoa, what's happening here?
That's my wife. We're a couple weirdos.
All right, so a little girl, she's seen running up and down the 3rd floor. There was a little boy who was spotted with a leather ball, and many people will bring balls with them for him to play with or whatever. There is a hearse that appears in the back of the building, dropping off coffins.
Old-timey hearse? Like old-timey hearse?
I'm assuming. I don't know. An elderly woman who roams the hospital, moaning and bleeding from her chained hands and feet. Though she cries for help, when outsiders approach her, she runs away screaming in terror. There are slamming doors and lights in the windows as if the power is running, but obviously there's no power going on in this building. There are strange sounds and eerie footsteps in the empty rooms. Shadows are seen and footprints appear in puddles. A man in a white coat is seen walking in the kitchen, and the smell of cooking food sometimes wafts through the room. And a number of people have reported footsteps in the cafeteria and a door swinging shut under its own power, and the smell of fresh baked bread is in the air.
That's nice.
Yeah. Volunteers working on the restoration of the building experienced ghostly sounds, heard slamming doors, saw lights appear in the building, had objects thrown at them, and were struck by unseen hands. They also saw apparitions in the doorways and corridors. Now, there is one kind of creepy guy, and his name is the Creeper.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
He is a dark, terrifying entity that crawls along the floors, the walls, and the ceilings. Some believe it's an otherworldly spirit or a demonic force, while others believe it's a human spirit that has been twisted by the trauma of death. Those who encounter it are invariably filled with dread. Tour guides have reported seeing doppelgängers of themselves and a few others. In some cases, the doppelgängers were almost identical, except for black holes where the eye should be. And in one of our episodes, I feel like we brought it up. Who was it that?
Yeah, the Reverend Tim.
Yeah.
He was, I think he was at Penhurst, or it could have been Waverly. I forget. But he said it was during an electrical storm, and his team was setting up equipment for the investigation. He felt like the lightning and just the electricity, everything was just amplified, all the activity.
Right.
But he was walking down the hall talking to his one team member. And
that's right.
Then he got walkie-talkie call or something, and she was actually on the floor below him. And he looked over at the obviously doppelganger, and it kind of just disappeared.
Wow.
Yeah, like that's an intense story. I we haven't seen him, I guess, because we can't go do anything, can't go to any conventions. But yeah, we met him in Gettysburg. I'm sure he has a lot of stories.
Oh yeah. Now the last thing I'm going to talk about as far as hauntings go is room 502.
502. I saw that a couple times.
It is the most haunted room in this place. People have seen shapes moving in the windows and have heard voices. According to the stories, a nurse was found dead in room 502 in 1928. She had committed suicide by hanging herself from the light fixture. She was 29 years old at the time of her death, unmarried, and pregnant. Now, in 1932, just a few years later, another nurse who worked in the same room jumped from the roof patio and plunged several stories to her death. No one seems to know why she would have done this, but many have speculated that she may have actually been pushed over the edge. There are no records to indicate that this actually happened, but there are rumors.
Wasn't it?
Mean like by somebody else or an unseen force?
Well, I think they were leaving that up for you to figure out. Yeah, they didn't specify, but I'm assuming it's like it could be by an actual person or
Did the police not investigate?
Well, because it wasn't a place of people like losing their mind and mental illness. It was a place of TB, and I mean they could have been losing it towards the end, maybe with some dementia or whatnot. But it wasn't like, I don't envision it as, people were losing their mind. They didn't know who they were. They were under psychoses and.
But do you think a place like this that has this much, death, suffering could draw in negative energies?
Oh, 100%.
That latch onto it, so they would be the ones that would be pushing people off, things like that.
Yeah.
Well, and then I do have to mention that it did say that both the nurses that passed away there, there's no records of it actually happening. So it's just more like hearsay.
Okay.
So it could have happened. It probably didn't, but I wanted to bring it up.
Because they said that the lady who hung herself, it might not have been. There was another story where she hung herself by the rafters near the door, but there are no rafters or something like that. So
so I think it's all probably to make it spookier or whatever. But and the last thing, I did mention that people see like shadows, but they've heard a demonic voice that says, "Get out."
Well, now, I have a story here that was on True Ghost Tales. It's a website. But this story was by Joey. He was visiting the Waverly Hills Sanatorium with a couple of his friends. And so after touring the building, they headed up to the roof to decompress. They began seeing shadows moving and started to get really scared. His one friend, Chris, was so scared he wanted to jump off the roof. Now,
That's crazy.
I don't know if maybe he was being influenced by something.
Right.
But they went back inside and were still being pursued by these shadows. Doors started slamming. They could see mysterious footprints start to appear from nowhere in puddles of water. And you had mentioned that.
I did mention that, yeah.
The one guy just began sobbing. They barely held it together, but finally made it to the exit. And then they just sat in this one dude's car, just terrified of what they witnessed. Now, having these shadows chase you down a hall as you're trying to get out.
That would be
Was it the
terrifying.
creeper? Was it the creeper?
Maybe it was the creeper because he said he could go up walls,
on
down
the
walls,
ceiling.
on the ceiling.
Yeah. He's creepy.
like spider-like. That's I could see whoever that creeper is. If it was, I could see it more like a demon kind of a thing, because it seems like the apparitions are kind of there. Mm-hmm. They're kind of doing their echo of what they did when they were alive or whatnot. But this creeper dude, this could be just cruising the halls, keeping everything just the way he likes it.
Yeah.
Could something terrify you so much you'd want to jump off the roof? Now, I'm not saying you want to commit suicide, like just so he needed to get out of there. Was willing, like I can make the jump.
Right.
I don't know. I didn't talk to the person, but it had to be terrifying to have such feelings of flight to that
to be like
extreme.
the only way you could get away would be to jump off a roof.
Yeah.
Yikes. That's wild.
Have him chase you down the hall.
Right.
It sounds intense.
I know.
Speaking of the doppelganger on season 4 of Ghost Adventures, Aaron claims that he saw Nick's doppelganger. So,
man,
yeah,
that would just be so creepy, especially if I were like, "Oh, I know you're not even in this floor, like you're downstairs or whatever, but I'm seeing you." No, thank you.
And it looks just like you, but with no eyeballs.
What would you do in that scenario? Would you ask a few questions, or would you just like freak out and take off? Because that might be you've already been communicating with this doppelganger, having a conversation, and then I guess I would imagine that in all of the recollections that people have had about dealing with doppelgangers is that as soon as you realize it's a doppelganger, poof, it's gone.
Right.
It takes off.
Right.
I always think, just stick around. I got a few questions.
Right.
Just give me.
You think that's a good idea?
Yeah, why not? They're there.
Oh, okay.
Ask them, and you're already talking to them. The communication lines are already there. You're already either on
What would your first question be to my doppelganger?
to your doppelganger.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I just assumed you'd be like, is the pudding skin real?
Well, it's got to be real because we're on one side or the other of it. For the two of you to be standing together. So I don't know what's it like. What's on the other side? What's it like over there? I mean,
What if it's the same thing? And then the doppelganger's like, on the other side, 2020 sucks too.
2020 sucked for us. It's COVID, but it's totally different.
Yeah, why do you think I'm over here?
That's right. I don't know.
Dave, what would you do if you saw a doppelganger?
I don't know. I mean, obviously I wouldn't realize it till it disappeared. And then at that point, I'd just be like, well, that was creepy, and probably go on about my business.
I don't think I'd ever be able to get it out of my head. You know what I mean? If I thought I was talking to you,
right,
and then the walkie-talkie went off, and you're on the first floor, and I'm on the second,
right,
and it disappeared, I don't know if I'd ever be able to let it go. I think I would quit my job and full-time paranormal investigate to try to find an answer, because it would just eat at you. Like, what was that?
Right.
Can I recreate it? How can it would be intense.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what I would do. I'd probably be that one person that's like, okay, guys, I'm going to go out to the car. You can finish all this, but.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess going back to what questions to ask, like the concept of, if you think of a not normal, but whatever haunting where, ghost is somewhat stuck in that place for whatever reason, but the doppelganger, okay, what's its true form and why is it picking the form of others? Like, what does it get out of this? Is it cursed to do this? Is it some sort of alleviating the damnation they're stuck with of stuck in this place, or what? Like, so those would be my questions to it if I could ask questions, I guess.
Yeah,
but
what can it really look like? Yeah.
Yeah, because that doppelganger is going to be something more than just a floating apparition who doesn't really. It's kind of like, I don't want to say self-aware, but enough to carry an intelligent conversation with you.
Right.
So there's got to be some level of intelligence there greater than just footprints in water or, or just a
and
floating body.
If it was something that was trying to hurt you, it would be, I can picture it from the movies. I don't know what movie specifically, but like where you realize that you're not talking to the person you think you are. It's a doppelganger, and you turn and I just picture like a big toothy grin, like they're going to attack. Well, that's not what's happening here. They just disappear. It's just there as either mischief or it's something that they're, experience,
Yeah.
for whatever reason they're doing it. So it doesn't sound at all harmful or they're out to get you or anything. It's just, yeah.
No, I feel like at Waverly, they have a lot of spirits that are just kind of
there
going through the motions, like what they were doing, I think, at the time that they were alive. But there's also a lot of really intelligent ones that I think are trying to mess with you a little bit. But
that's what I mean, is to be able to get to realize that who you're dealing with and fast enough so that you could actually have a conversation would be a really unique situation. And, it just goes back to, I just think it's just fascinating. But sometimes, like if the creeper was coming down the hall and you're checking things out with your flashlight and you're looking for stuff, oh, this is amazing. And then you look over and you see this creeper coming off of the ceiling like a xenomorph from an Alien series coming at you. Yeah, I'm going to get up and boogie on out of there.
Right.
Yep, this is goodbye.
So, yeah, the one thing, if I was trying to do an investigation here, I would want to talk to the kids. I apologize if you already mentioned this, but I don't think you did, that the kids that were there weren't just sick kids who had tuberculosis, but they were also children of the patients who couldn't take care of the kids became residents of the hospital then. And that's why I think you hear about the kids that are trying to play and everything.
True.
They're just there and they're living out their life where their parents have died or whatever. And, who knows why they're still stuck in that location. But I think that, with all the weirdness going on, all the dark and everything, they seem still somewhat pure, almost as if they don't even realize they should move on and be, trying to communicate with them to find out, well, where are the creeper, where does he reside, to get more information about all of this.
I mean, we haven't had a road trip for quite some time. Would this be a place you'd want to investigate?
I think I could deal with going there. I think I could deal with that.
Alicia and I were crunching the numbers the other day. Is it like $100 a person?
Yeah. So do you want me to just go over like the different tours that they have?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a 2-hour paranormal guided tour, $25. There's a 2-hour historical guided tour, and that's $25. They also have a 6-hour public investigation, which is semi-guided. So they just they probably lead you onto each of the floors and they let you go. And that's $75. Now they have a private 8-hour investigation and you have free roam of the whole place. It's $1,000, 10 people minimum. So each person would pay $100. No one under the age of 13 is allowed there at that point. And then, of course, during Halloween season, they have a haunted house every Friday and Saturday from September 27th until November 2nd. And it's $20 to get in. So,
all right, so 10 people, $100 each. That's not bad.
yeah.
And it's an 8.5 hour drive.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not too. Road trip.
And I bet you we could find a brewery nearby.
Oh, sure.
So, yeah, and a hotel, so it'll all work out.
Right.
I know Willie, shout out to Willie in the UK, Three Spirited. He said he would love to see us do like some type of investigation and, record it. I think this would be too big and too massive 8 hours of footage. I'm not going through that. But, I'm interested. It's been a while since we have been. Well, Gettysburg was the last place.
We need to go back. We need to do another one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Gettysburg was cool. It was great to get the private access to the Jenny Wade. But, I think it's time.
Okay.
We could definitely do it.
Dave, you in?
Yeah.
We've all been cooped up. We've all been cooped up and can't use our vacation time. So let's go.
Maybe we start a little smaller. Like we were at the sanatorium. It's a huge place, and there's the creeper.
Yeah, no, thank you on that one. Creeper wise,
Yeah,
I'm good.
Doppelgängers, though.
Right. I just imagine that the place attracted so much darkness that it's just insane. I mean.
For sure.
The ghosts have to do with, all the people who had died. But what about, as a doctor who was just out of their gourd wanting to work on people while they were alive.
Right.
It made me think when you said that there was a ghost with chains on her hands and blood coming from those chained hands. And it's just like, wait a minute, hold on.
Yeah.
Were these people alive when they were working on them? When they were moving bones and muscles and stuff?
You mean
I wanted to ask on that because,
yes.
that's regardless of how horrific medical procedures tended to have gotten, they typically didn't chain people
Right.
Well,
as part of that. So where did that come from? Like,
I think it was an elderly woman, so I don't know if
That's what we do with our elderly people.
I know. Listen. So when the TB hospital closed down, it was a geriatric sanitarium, and it was for people with dementia and people that could no longer walk. So I almost wonder if there were some patients that maybe weren't.
That were really off, really in a bad situation.
And so they had to chain them, but I don't know.
but even there, like, I mean, there's very few that people. I think, like, Nash, you're working on some pretty intense exercise routines. You might need to be chained if you were in a bad state, but. I can't think of any geriatric person that would require chains and manacles to keep them.
That's pretty hardcore.
Listen.
Well, maybe it could be so they didn't hurt themselves.
Right.
Well, maybe.
But I mean, simple ropes and stuff. If you're trying just to restrain, like,
True.
This is like going overboard.
Yeah,
like, we're out of the normal things. We'll take from the torture dungeon that.
Well, and then
That's right.
I mean, just to think about, also, like, if they have dementia, they don't quite understand what's happening, maybe, and they think it's chains, so that's what they're now.
That's
like,
true. That's true.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Like they're
so like they think they have chains on them, but really it was just
something
yeah,
restraining them.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
just
Like rope.
exactly.
That was for
Right.
Yeah.
So that brings up another question that I had. You said there was the hearse that showed up. Mm-hmm. But how? And I don't know. Maybe in some of our conversations with various topics all over the years, but I don't remember ever talking about it. Of how can an inanimate object become a ghostly object? Like,
What if
I can get the hearse driver or whatever delivering coffins,
Right.
but how does a full hearse become?
Well,
And
didn't
but that ties into what if it is just the manifestation of that was the hearse driver's mental thing, and that became the
right?
I don't know.
Right. I have no answers for you, Dave.
Oh yeah.
Well, didn't we talk about earlier about ghosts possessing inanimate objects?
True.
Like mirrors and pictures
Yeah.
and so.
So
I
a
mean,
ghost was driving the hearse?
Well, no, that a lot of people passed on the road going to there or coming away from there. They weren't fully dead. And so that's their, when they pass there in this,
Right.
that's where they envision themselves within this hearse. So now that's what shows up. I don't know.
I like the idea of the ghost driving the hearse. Freaking everybody out.
It was like the Black Pearl kind of a thing, like the ghost ship, but from Ford or something like that. I don't know.
All right. Well, why don't we get back in the ghost car and drive to break?
That's right.
And we'll come back with more intelligent things to say. Mm-hmm. We'll be right back. We're back. All right. Yeah, it sounds like if you're a paranormal investigator, Waverly Hills has it all. Mm-hmm. Crazy shadow people, the creeper, doppelgängers. Yeah. Children ghosts that they'll play ball with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I really feel like this would be an excellent road trip. There'll be some good team bonding, too. The drive down.
Yeah.
We can make it 8 hours in a car with each other. Yeah.
It didn't say anywhere how long that the body shoot was, did it?
Oh, I imagine it did somewhere, but I couldn't find that.
Because I'm just envisioning like this curved, rounded top.
Nah, I feel like it was. I mean, obviously the length of the building, and then it goes out to
somewhere else,
yeah,
underground.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
So it was more of a tunnel, right? It wasn't like a laundry chute or trash chute.
No, they
were
called
just
it,
dropping bodies down the.
No, they called it the body chute, but really it was just a tunnel,
like a vacuum tube at the bank. You just shoot them and off they go.
Yeah, I mean, Nash, I don't think you've been there, but Mark and Lish, you've been to the E-Town train station, walking through those tunnels. That's sort of what I'm envisioning, like where you go up to the platform. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but do you know how long? I think you just asked that. Like, how many? Is it a couple miles? I mean, they're pretty intense underneath this building, right?
That's what I'm wondering.
A couple miles sounds like too much, but they're expansive.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking like a 1930s, 1940s underground tunnel. You know, so it's probably 8 feet wide, 8 feet tall, something like 6 feet wide, 8 feet tall, just curved top, just with people on carts, bodies on carts oh my gosh, that's the I don't even know if I could walk in there.
Now I didn't find any like specific things for the body shoot. But apparently it's super haunted down there too.
I would imagine.
But I couldn't find like anything specific. Like they were like, oh, there's this. It was just more like the whole building is haunted. So
I wonder if it's ventilated.
Probably not.
Oh,
I don't know.
That would be brutal.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being like your first day on the job and you're like, hi, everybody, it's my first day. What do you need me to do? And they're like, well, it's a good thing you asked.
The tunnel itself was 525 feet long.
Oh, my gosh.
And ran out to the bottom of the hill. The dead were left at the end of the tunnel.
Wow.
I'm assuming for the pickup.
Probably.
150, 160 some odd yards long. Oh my gosh.
So that's like a city block, so a tenth of a mile.
Okay.
Underground in a
Yeah.
I can imagine.
No.
Yeah, it says nothing that went down the tunnel, the death tunnel, ever came back up.
Well, the employees.
Hey, that's what
I mean, somebody had to come back. It wasn't a slip and slide.
It'd be like your first day in the job. All right, you got to go and take it.
Right.
I want to come back.
I just started.
I don't even have my health benefits yet.
No, I think not only is it the people that passed away in this building are kind of staying there. They had a horrible end to their life. A lot of the supposed treatments, and I'm using quotes, weren't necessarily the best. But apparently, a lot of people believe demonic entities are there, that they're attracted to locations where many human spirits linger. So most likely this building is a combination of both, of like friendly, but also awful. So
It's sort of just talking about it, reminded me of that found footage film, Grave Encounters. Probably one of the best found footage films out there. Definitely recommended if you're into horror and that style.
Right.
I think found footage kind of died out. But that's, because they're like in a mental hospital, I think, but it has those underground tunnels, has creepy things crawling around on the wall. I don't know. Yeah, it just reminded me of that.
It reminded me of the peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
okay.
Because you've got the jelly, which is the human ghost. You've got the peanut butter, which is the demon stuff, and it's just a big sandwich you don't want to eat. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Thanks, Billy Madison.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just saying. Leave that one go.
You don't like
peanut butter and jelly?
I do, just not that one. The bread is nasty.
What's the bread?
It's a crazy building called Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
Okay.
Your metaphor kind of got lost on me there.
It did. It wasn't a very strong metaphor. I get that.
The listeners had to just pull over the side of the road just to scream with their...
Oh, my gosh.
If you want more information, obviously, there are so many different ghost hunters, ghost ventures. I could name so many have actually gone to this place and done investigations. So, like, there's a lot of things out there for it. But
I think also that there's just so much content there. There's so much stuff there that we're not even touching scratching the surface of it. There's just so much. So many people died that if you want to dig into it, go check it out.
Yeah.
Okay, we will.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we want to.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, I guess that wraps up Waverly Hills. Now, we have a tale from the pudding skin. Got a story from Will about his little trip near Savannah. He went to the Sorrel Weed House. Dave's going to read it. Coming to you live from the Hollow Earth.
Hey, guys. I just had some crazy paranormal incidents that I thought you guys would want to hear about. I'm on vacation with my family on Tybee Island. If you don't know where Tybee is, it's 30 minutes from Savannah. So last night, my sister and I decided to find a ghost tour to do, and I did a little research and found the Sorrel Weed House. First off, the house itself is super beautiful. It's a Greek revival house built in the 1800s, and it's also one of the most haunted houses in the country. Okay, so on to my experiences. First, when we got there, we instantly smelled cigar smoke, which I didn't even think about. But during the tour, we were told that smelling cigar smoke is one of the most common experiences people have. Next, when we walked to what's called the women's parlor, I got a strong whiff of floral perfume, and then the smell was gone, which apparently is also a common experience people have. Next, while in the basement, we walked into what used to be the cleaning room where all the slaves would have done the laundry, and again I smelled something. It was a weird smell that smelled like some type of cleaning stuff. I couldn't tell you what it was, but it was weird, especially because when I walked out of the room, then later went back in, and the room smelled like a musty old basement. Now on to the truly creepy things that happened to me. So in the room in the basement there used to be where surgeries were done back in the 1800s, I was standing in a corner and had something touch me, even though the next closest person to me was 10 or more feet away. It felt like something pulled the hair on my arm. At first, I just passed it off as me feeling creepy because it's a strange room, but then the tour guide started telling us stories, and she pointed at me and said, "We often have people report getting the hair on their legs and arms pulled when they stand next to the couch right where I was." And my final experience happened to me when we were allowed to just wander around the basement and look around. There was a place called the Breezeway, and there's a chair you can sit in, and our guide told us if we want to, we should sit in the chair alone in the room and say, "I give you permission to put your hand on my shoulder." And so I did this, and a few seconds later, I felt a weird burning spot on my shoulder. It was only in a small dot and almost felt like a cigarette being put out on my arm. It was very weird. So there's my story. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope all is well with y'all. You guys are awesome. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy moly.
You're awesome. And, man, getting to go to visit that house is very cool.
I know.
Jealous. Because we were supposed to go to Savannah in September.
Yep.
And that was on our itinerary. Mm-hmm. We were going to hit the Blue, not Blue Moon. What's that? The Moon River Brewery.
Yes.
Going to hit that, and I walked down to the Sorrel Weed House. And what was the other place there?
Oh, there's so many. That's a thing.
But the wedding got postponed till 2021.
Yep.
Still don't know if that's going to happen. But, yeah, so that's awesome, Will. Interesting that it felt like somebody was putting a cigarette out on your arm.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
That'd be freaky.
And pulling the hair on your arms or legs like that.
Right.
That would just be really like
annoying.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Quit it.
Now, when we discussed that episodes ago, we discussed this location. We talked about the cigar smoke. I think, Nash, you brought that up. But we had a listener that said, because so many cigars were smoked in that room, all that long time ago, that the humidity in Savannah sometimes can can kind of release
Yeah.
that odor.
Right.
So it might not be paranormal, but extremely interesting that it's
Right.
it
It's in
could be
everything
locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, cigar smoke, it really gets into everything. But yeah, but
Same with
the
perfume, but the cleaning agents in the basement,
Right.
Yeah, that's not going to be humidity, and then the fact that he went back into the room and it was gone, that's
Yeah.
kind of weird.
yeah. Well, again, then being touched.
Right.
Would you? Now you did that at Gettysburg. You sat in that chair and gave the little kid permission to sit in your lap.
He didn't.
But he did not.
No, he didn't. But I took my purse off my lap so that he could sit down.
Yeah, but on a scale of 1 to 10, if you would have felt like somebody just sat. in
Oh,
your
I
lap.
would have been freaking out.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'd been like the creeper. You'd have been stuck to the ceiling going.
So,
But I gave him permission, so maybe he knew that I would freak out. So he was like, "All right, I'm not going to do that." But
Wow.
Well, all right, got a story? Send it to us. ParanormalPunchers.com. All right. Wow, we did it. Another location. Mm-hmm. Another idea to go visit the
That's
place.
right.
yep.
All right. I wonder what will be around the corner. What's the next spot? What's the next cryptid? I don't know.
What are they going to say next? What food group are they going to bring up in the next, next podcast?
Right.
Is Nash hungry? What happened?
Well, no, now I like the idea of you and Pudding Skin, but I would change that comic around just to you doing a cooking show
Yeah.
about Pudding Skin, how to make it, how to eat it, how to put it between 2 slices of bread with hot sauce.
Or on a tortilla. That'd be a good way to do it.
Be like, yeah,
Everything's good on a tortilla.
dude, we could make that a YouTube channel in a second.
Pudding skin burritos.
Yeah.
That sounds.
What would be your catchphrase?
Gross.
Like, had the Emerald Agassi had BAM! Or something like that. And what's Guy Fieri? He's got, like, Flavor Town. What would be your cooking show? What would be your signature saying?
Oh boy, I don't know. That's a tough one. I would need to have possibly somebody creative to help me with that because I have no idea.
Or tune in next time to get skinned.
Oh,
That's terrible. No. Here's looking at you through the pudding skin, or I don't know.
And you hold it up to your face.
Yeah, and then you put your face through it.
So this cooking show is already going downhill.
I'm going to say 1 episode.
Yeah,
tops.
well, it's just a pilot. It was just a pilot. You know, there's a lot of shows out there. You know,
It's not going to get picked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, couldn't be just pudding skin. You'd have to, like, expand out like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Right.
All right, well, that's a failed idea. We won't we won't try it, but it'd be hilarious. Maybe I would try it with puppets.
Okay.
All right. Dave, if you could have a cooking show, what would you do?
Spicy stuff.
Okay.
It's all I know how to make.
Lish, what about you?
It'd probably be me baking stuff. Because for the most part, I'm pretty good at it. I've had some fails. So that would be interesting, too. To go through the whole thing and be like, well, I screwed up. So
Yes.
this is now a rock.
See, we talked about this,
Yeah.
about our cooking show, going to haunted locations around the world.
Yeah.
And cooking something specific to that location, like whatever
yeah.
was made there at the time. So you can investigate, cook, eat, drink, and discuss.
I could do that with we could do that with beer.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder if you were like at Waverly Hills Sanatorium
Booze and brews.
and you were able to actually make something on site, which, I mean, they don't, it's not a place where you
I don't think that kitchen's up to code.
No.
Exactly. But even if you could, like, if you could make something that would have been on the menu back when patients were there,
Oh, to see if it,
that
like-
would trigger intense activity because it's bringing nostalgia back.
Right.
Like,
Oh,
can ghosts
Dave.
smell or not?
That's excellent.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter if it's up to code or not if we're not going to eat it, if it's just there to trigger
Well, no,
activity.
dude, bro, we'll take the camp chef. Then we set the grill up,
Oh, God, yeah.
and because it got a griddle part, it's got a burner side. I love it. I love it. Does that sound interesting, or does that sound just? I'm talking to the listeners. would that be something you would watch on YouTube? I mean, we don't have the money to travel all over the world dragging a Camp Chef griddle behind us. But, I mean, I like the idea.
Yeah.
We make some stuff, and then we go to the fridge and we get something to eat for us because what we just made was a little.
Well, how do you know it would be a little?
Because none of us are chefs.
He's really good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
I can bake, but he can cook.
Yeah.
He does the cooking, actually.
Okay.
And I'll bet, any place that's like open, like Civil War battlefields and stuff, that if you're allowed to have not campfire, but you know what I mean, like cook there, that would be an easy place to set up and see what.
Yeah, we could start there since it's in our own backyard.
Yeah.
We could do, what about like doing like a sanitarium tailgate style? Where you could go and you could tailgate in front of all these places before you go do a tour. You tailgate in front of it.
Well, I don't think getting hammered before you do a paranormal investigation.
But then you've got a grill, you've got beer, you've got, like sanitarium hats on with beer cups on the sides going down. You could do a whole tailgate thing with face paint and the whole 9 yards.
Okay.
So I guess it depends if the ghosts think you're there to cheer them on or if you're the opposing team.
Right? You don't know. You don't know. See? That's just it. I don't know. Just an idea.
Yeah, you know what? We're completely off track. So it's like the show actually ended 10 minutes ago, but I didn't hit stop. And you heard what we talk about when we sit around, have a beer.
The curtain just peeked back and listened to us all, talk about nonsensical stuff.
Woo, we better end it there. Thank you so much for listening to the show, supporting the show, being part of the show. You're amazing. We love you. Stay safe out there. And as we say around here, if it's not weird,
it's not worth checking out.